Paris, chérie, mon beau Paris, c'est toujours toi que j'aime.
Hello there, and welcome back to Paris Set Me Free, photo tutorials where I talk about a photograph that I've taken in Paris. And as you can see today, I'm looking at an interesting composition. I hope you find it's interesting, and we seem to be looking up pigeons' backsides, or I don't know, maybe they're seagulls actually. This is the original photograph, so in a moment we'll see what happened to it. You've probably seen it already, but this is what my camera came out with. Straight away, let's say that what I was looking at was a load of black lines with white behind it, and it's come out as sort of a mid-grey. If you look at this sort of mushy grey colour. Why? Because if you took the average of this photograph, there'd be far more light areas than dark areas. So what the camera does, bless it, is try to average everything out. And as a photographer, do we want the camera to decide what exposure our photo should be? No, we don't. And does it try to? Yes, it does. So it'll always try and go for an average of the light and the dark coming out as mid-grey, which is not really. Sorry, been a late night last night, which is not really any good, is it? Because look at this. If I'm not sure, yeah, I'm not very good. I'm just looking at this photograph. Maybe only 20% of this photograph is black, and the other 80% is white. It's decided that the average should be more like 50. So what happens is the blacks stay black, but the whites turn mid-grey. So that's what's happened here, and it's not what I wanted. What I could have done, of course, is been a bit more careful when I was shooting and said, okay, it's obviously shutting it down 2 or 3 stops. I'm going to open it up, hit that little plus minus button, my favourite button on the camera, and said, okay, give me +1. And then that grey bit would have been a bit whiter. Give me +2. I reckon between +2 and +3, and we'd have started seeing that the white bits here, which look grey, actually starting to be white. But sometimes that isn't a good thing, because you can lose details that you need. So anyway, this is what I had. In fact, I had a few, and I must admit I spent quite a lot of time analysing the positions and clarity of these. I think they're seagulls' backsides. Never thought I would do that in my life, but there you go. Photography takes you to strange places sometimes. Let me just show you where this is. I don't know if you can guess. Some of you real Parisian aficionados might have guessed, because there's only a couple of structures like this in Paris. I'm not looking onto it or into it. I'm looking up out of it. So don't know if you've got where it is yet. It's in Paris. You probably guessed that. I'm going to zoom in. Here we go. See where I'm going here? Taking you down to Musée du Louvre, and I've noticed that I can actually get this little Google Maps guy to take me down inside the Louvre. So let's have a look. There you go, and that's exactly where I want it to be, although not quite, because it looks like the pyramid, the famous pyramid of the Louvre, which caused so much fuss, would be where I was looking at. Let me just go back to the original. There it is. It looks like I'd be looking up through the pyramid, the Louvre pyramid, and looking at that. Am I? No, I'm not. But actually, this is a bit of a coincidence, because I've got a feeling that this photograph is actually showing me where I am. It's downstairs in the Louvre. It's in that strange place where you've got that upside down pyramid that was in the Da Vinci Code novel. Well, I mean, the pyramid came first, not the novel, so let's not get things the wrong way round. But I've got a feeling that I'm looking out through that thing there. This may be my complete imagination and not right at all, but I've got a feeling that, you see this thing here? I don't know if I can zoom in. I've got a funny feeling that this photograph, this one here, is actually looking up onto that piece of glass there. So, like I say, maybe wrong, maybe not. This is the final version. I'll just let you bask in its glory for a couple of seconds. It's not quite that, it's this, look. it's bigger than that. You'll have seen that already on the blog if you've come through the blog to this video. It's actually a square photograph. I thought square would be cool because, don't know. What I loved about this is, well, there's the lines and the contrast, and if you look at it carefully, you'll notice that, is it black and white or not? You know, I could easily have hit a button and said make it black and white. I didn't. Why not? Because I didn't want to. What colour is there in this photograph? Well, there's little, the feet of these seagulls, I'm convinced they're seagulls. They don't look like pigeons. The feet of these guys are red, which is nice. It's the tiniest touch of red. There's one there. There's hardly any others, but there it is, red. And also these post down, these things hanging down. I'll just, you can see there's quite a few of them. They are definitely not black and white. They're not very colourful, but they're not black and white. There's a bit of sort of beigey, light creamy beige in there. And I don't know, that adds to it. That makes me think, okay, it's almost a black and white photograph, but it isn't. Which adds to the interest. Having said that, I wanted the rest to be black and white. Let's just hit the original once more. Look at that grotty grey colour. Not at all the magic that the photograph is giving us there. And so I wanted to go for that. So what did I do? Well, I obviously played around with the contrasts and exposure afterwards. But having said that, I don't think it's cheating too much, because that's what I was looking at. When I looked up, my eyes saw this. They didn't see a mushy grey thing like this. No. They really did. They really did see this much white and stuff. But sometimes the camera messes around and doesn't allow us to capture what we saw. So there's two sides to it. You can play around afterwards to get it more like what you actually saw. But you can also, when I say that, you can mess around afterwards, because the image that the camera gave you wasn't what you were looking at and what had attracted you in the first place. So that's kind of a technical problem. It shut down because there was too much light, and your lovely black and white image became grey. The flip side to that coin is also you can make it more of what you saw. Say, for example, in your mind's eye, you saw an amazing composition that was really striking, and the colours seemed very vibrant to you and so on, and then the camera sort of dumbs it down or just does something you didn't want. Well, we now have tools that allow us to get it back a little bit closer to perhaps not reality, to something that we wanted it to look like, or that we imagined in our mind, but that in fact wasn't the case. So there's two sides to playing around afterwards. One is getting it back to what it should have been, and the other is taking it way further to something that it never was, never could be, and yet in our photograph it is. So that's the sort of the parallel between photography and art. That's why I don't like to take photographs that are too literal. That's why I do allow myself some artistic license, because I don't want my photographs to look like reality. For one thing, reality is not always all it's made up to be. It's sometimes pretty awful and grey and boring, and there's all the external sort of factors getting in the way. And secondly, you're not adding anything if you don't do something special. So there you go. Square composition, lots of lovely lines. I really tried hard to have the lines at diagonals to the edge of the frame. I think that's important. Well, I could have done it the other way and had them absolutely parallel. Had a lot of black lines along here and a lot of black lines going up and down, and that may well have been an interesting composition as well. I didn't do that. Maybe I should have, actually. And then just these seagulls' backsides we're looking up. I just find that funny. I did spend quite a lot of time trying to position the seagulls relative to the edges of the frame, like not chopping seagulls in half and so on, and having a kind of nice random scatter formation there. So there you go. It's my seagulls' backsides photograph. Thanks for watching, and hey, tell your friends and visit again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. See you in Paris.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre, je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.